Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary video. Today I wanted to discuss the idea of one of the reasons that behavior kind of doesn't really care about a lot of the issues that seem to be so obvious to most of us when it comes to this perk's broken, this map's broken, this character's too strong, this character's too weak. And I want to talk about why behavior doesn't really care about a lot of that, at least one of the major reasons. So I think one of the biggest things that you can point to is that behavior releases data pretty frequently when it comes to like their big Q&A streams. They like to release data charts with that, and you always see things in there that are kind of astonishing for us that play the game on a daily basis. Like the most common one being that Pig was the most killing character, or the character with the most kills based on all the killers when they released their charts that one time. And everybody was like, what? How is Pig's not a menace or anything? And Nurse, who is widely regarded as one of the greatest characters in the game, had a really low kill count player wide. And that was really stunning for us, because we're like, wait, everybody knows that Nurse is the best in the game. Just like everybody knows that Pig is bottom 5 in the game. I don't know where you place her in the bottom 5, but she is bottom 5 according to most people. So you're in this weird situation. It's like, well, behavior's data says that Nurse, despite being the best character in the game, apparently isn't getting a whole lot of kills, and Pig, despite being bottom 5 in the game, is getting some of the most kills. And that boils down to the fact that most of the people who play DBD aren't us. And by us, I mean people that play the game on a regular basis. Most people play this game casually. And with that comes behavior's perception of when they're looking at data, when behavior's looking at things to change, looking at things to adjust, they're looking at the whole player base, not just the people who play daily, who are typically better at the game. A lot of people are dying to Pig's head traps because a lot of people who just play casually don't know when to go get their hats off and get it off too late, get a head pop, or are not used to Pig's stealth ability and get trucked by Pig because they don't see her coming when she's crouching out and she's stealth. Whereas Nurse, a brand new player trying to play Nurse, she's incredibly hard to control. So Nurse isn't doing a lot of work for most of the player base, but for the player base who play every day, and a Nurse that plays every day, she's doing tons and tons of work and is the best character in the game. But the sad fact is that's just not the majority of the player base. That's just not the majority of us. That's just not the majority of us. And it's a hard pill to swallow. It's a really hard pill to swallow, is that even though we play daily and we're super devoted to the game, we're really not what's keeping the lights on for behavior. And that's kind of what sucks. That's why they do the free weekends, because they're trying to get as many casual eyes on the game as possible. They're trying to get as many people just in the door, buy a few cosmetics, and call it a day. Even if they don't commit to the game long term, they get them in there and they get their paid cosmetics and they get their $30 from that person, and that's the bottom line. That's the profit, right? And that's what they care about. So when they're balancing, they're balancing for the whole game, not just us who are the actual players who are actually committed to the game and love the game and play it almost every day. Because technically, stats wise, we're pretty low on the, we don't make up a big fraction of DBD's entire player base, as dumb and as silly as that is. I think they go too far in the point where they're kind of disregard us to a large extent. They disregard us to a large extent because we're not the majority. But that's just kind of like, I don't know if that's just like corporate greed or what. Maybe it is, but it's just like, it does not benefit them really to focus on us. Now, that being said, in my opinion, I think that they are driving away the core, because we are the core. Irregardless, we are the core of the game. We are the people who will recommend the game to somebody else. We're the people that will talk about it, hype it up, show up to their Twitch streams that they do about their anniversary. We are the ones doing all that. We're the ones always talking about the game and always invested in the game. So we may not be numerically quantitatively the most important, but we are qualitatively the most important because we make up most of the player numbers. And when you start ignoring the people who make up most of the player's consistent day-to-day numbers, that can get into a hairy situation. And that's how most games do die, is that they kind of over time lose support or alienate their core player base, so new players trying to hop into the game don't really have anybody to play with because all the main people who usually play kind of filter away. And I don't want them to end up in that spot where they're like, well, just because quantitatively you guys don't make up a huge chunk of the player base, that means that we get to pay attention to you less. So I know that representation matters too. 100% that representation matters too. And like I said, we are the core of the game. So therefore, it's almost more in your favor to keep, us continually playing your game and investing in your game. That way you always have a strong player base to come to, even in times where you're not pulling together a lot of brand new players. You're not pulling in a lot of brand new players, because we will always be here as long as you keep us happy and don't ignore all the big problems that we have with the game. Whereas a casual player will just ditch you in a single moment because they're playing like 8 games at the same time. They still haven't beaten Elden Ring. They have plenty of other things to go do. Whereas we are, for better or worse, we're here with you. So yeah, so don't take that commitment for granted. Yeah, that's it for this one, guys. It was a little bit more of a, more of a contentious one. I usually don't like going for behavior's throat too much because it just kind of feels redundant because it never comes to anything. But sometimes it's just, I don't know, you got to call it how it is. And I feel like this one wasn't too mean or scathy, so I think it was fine. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you all so much. I will see you in the next video tomorrow. And if I don't, I will see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.